A new season is here, Canes fans. And with it comes the usual uncertainty, intrigue, and nerves. Nobody, not a coach, not a player, or a fan, will go to Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday night without enormous anticipation and butterflies in the stomach. Miami versus Notre Dame to start a new season. Does that get the toes tingling or what? We're going to find out very quickly what we have in these 2025 Miami Hurricanes as they open the season against the most challenging of opponents, number 5 ranked Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish, last seen in the national title game in January, will jet into South Florida looking to leap their own hurdle in a rising Miami team that has spent 4 years building towards this moment. The Canes think they're ready for the challenge, and they get the Irish at home. Notre Dame is going to have to deal with Carson Beck, who has spent the last 9 months preparing for his college football swan song after 5 previous seasons of building his own resume up at Georgia before an injury derailed his championship quest last year. Beck's been stacking practices for the entire last month of training camp, and he comes into this thing game ready to put a final stamp on his college career. But this Miami team is more than just about its transfer quarterback. You got a multi-headed monster at running back led by Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle. You have an offensive line to be as good or better as any in recent history at Miami, and maybe as good or better as anybody out there in the country. You have the ultimate offensive Swiss Army knife in tight end H-back Elijah Lofton, who's expected to be used in a multitude of ways by offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson. You got a pair of bookend veteran defensive ends in Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, who should create a lot of havoc for opponents. You have a middle linebacker in Mohamed Toure, who is the best player on the Rutgers team and could be the find of the year in the transfer portal if he can stay healthy. You have a retooled defensive backfield that has looked exceptional in fall workouts. You guys are going to be blown away by how much better Miami is in pass coverage this season. You also have a rebuilt defensive coaching staff under Corey Heatherman. Should be markedly improved from a year ago based on everything that we have seen. You add all of this up, and this certainly should be the best coaching staff that Miami has had since the championship years, and it might have its most complete roster since then also. The coaches have done a great job, the recruiting staff as well, in building the middle of the roster. Most teams have a couple elite star players, and Miami's, even going back to the Manny Diaz years, had that. You had Jalen Phillips, you had Gregory Rousseau. I like what I see from the middle of the roster this year. I think they've done a great job filling in holes, building depth, and it should start showing up on Sunday night. So you don't want to get too crazy with expectations and predictions when we haven't seen a thing on the field yet. But as Miami gets ready to kick off the 2025 season, there certainly seems to be a reason for optimism. And we're going to talk about all of that and more tonight as we begin a new season of the People's Show, CaneSport Live. Hello again, everybody. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com. We welcome you back to a new year of CaneSport Live. As usual, this is your show. It's going to be driven by your participation. We're just here to kind of steer you along. You guys get to hear myself, Matt Shodell, talk every day. This is your opportunity to come be part of the show and give your opinions. We want to hear what you have to say. Many of our guests tonight have pre-registered with us, and they have a link to the studio, and you will see them come on the show. If you have never been on the show before, we want some newbies this year. Don't be shy. Send us an email, canesport@yahoo.com. You see it at the bottom of your screen. We will get you a studio link. You can come in and join the party. And like I said, we encourage you absolutely to do so. But I want to start off now bringing my partner in crime at CaneSport, Matt Shodell, onto the show. And Matt, I know this is your favorite moment. We do a lot of Good Morning CaneSport shows. You have your legions of fans out there. But this is CaneSport Live, baby. This is the mothership for your army of followers. They live and die by your words of wisdom. So we're going to start off this new season, this first show, by giving you the floor here for a minute or two. We've been covering this thing like crazy since January. I mean, it's like we never stop, and it's kind of amazing. You know, when you talk about all the recruiting, all the transfer portals coming and goings, and all that. There's really no off season for us at CaneSport, but it builds up like everything else to an opening night, an opening weekend, and this one happens to be particularly special. Last year was special too with the Florida Gators, and I happen to personally love these kind of openings. You know, much better than playing Bethune-Cookman. But let's start out by getting, your thoughts as opening night approaches.
Well, unlike you, I didn't have a speechwriter write my 5-minute opening monologue. I just want to know if this is going to be Cracker Barrel, the old Cracker Barrel or the new Cracker Barrel, new Coke, old Coke. I don't want to say new Miami, old Miami. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm not going to say that. But we don't need the old Cracker Barrel. We want the new Cracker Barrel. We don't want to go back to the old logo like Cracker Barrel just did, right? I want a new logo. I want a new program. This is how you know it's the preseason right here. Because when you type as much as I have for this many months, you get epicondritis. I don't know what the hell it is. It's a problem, an arm problem. I'm questionable for the opener, but I'm going to tough it out just like the warrior that the Miami Hurricanes are. And this is always sort of a tricky time of year because I'm a negative person and fans are by nature positive people, and there's always this back and forth. People want to punch me in the face, which actually would probably make me look better with bandages around my head. But you guys know me. I just say my opinion. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. But I consistently stick with 10 wins for this team. I can consistently still stay playoffs for this team. But with 10-2, you're predicting 2 losses. God forbid. I am on record. I think they beat Notre Dame. I think they're going to, the 2 losses, if I'm picking them right now, I'm saying Florida and Louisville. Because in this day and age, you need a top quarterback if you're going to win a big game. Notre Dame doesn't have that, at least not a proven one. And it's so hard. CJ Carr, good luck to him. CJ is going to stand for crap in a jar because that's what he's going to probably feel like doing after watching Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor and Hayden Lowe and Marquise Lightfoot and who am I leaving out? I'm leaving out Armando Blunt. Just waves of defensive ends that are going to be just shellacking him and trying to hit him. And, this is one of those games where hit the guy late. First series, take the 15-yard penalty. I don't freaking care, man. You got to get in that guy's head, like Wesley Bassane said today. And they will. Corey Heatherman runs an attacking style defense. This defensive end group is too talented. Even though Notre Dame has 2 of the top tackle combos in the country, they're just too talented. And Heatherman's going to find ways to get some of them to work inside and get mismatches, right? Their right guard is totally inexperienced. Well, they haven't announced their right guard yet, but it's either going to be a second-year guy who played in 6 games barely last year or a career backup who's in his 3rd year. So, there's a position on that line that I'm sure Corey Heatherman's that's where we're going, So yeah, I do think low-scoring game. I do think Miami wins. And then where does it go from there? That's going to be the fun part, right? Because you're going to be 3-0 going to that Florida game. And my concern still is a little bit with the defense. I think the defense will be vastly improved. But if the defense gives up 28, 31 points to a Florida offense that's going to be explosive, much more so than last year, in my opinion, can this Miami offense match it? That's the question, right? So that's what I want. I'm not going to be watching the defense as much as, if I can only watch one half of the ball on Sunday night, I'm watching the offense. I'm not as worried about the defense, believe it or not. Even after last year, I'm not that worried about the defense. The offense is the group that has all these moving parts, all these new guys, right? There's 4 starters back on offense, and they're all on the offensive line. I know Mark Fletcher is technically a starter. He started 2 or 3 games each of the last 2 years, but the wide receivers have not started a game. I think maybe JoJo started the bowl game, but that doesn't really count, right? Started a regular season game. tight end's brand new, right? The whole offense has to find this flow. Their starting quarterback, as good as he's been and looked and is fully healthy, he's had 1 month of practice with this team and the coaches all together. 1 month. And now you're, after 30 days, you're throwing him against one of the best defenses in the country. I mean, that's what everyone says. There's a reason why this is the second time in the last 25 years that Miami is a home underdog when ranked in the top 10. And the last time was 2017 against Notre Dame. Miami was a 3.5-point underdog, believe it or not, in that game. And of course, Miami killed them. So, history does repeat itself, right? Miami's won 6 in a row against Notre Dame at home. So I think Miami wins this game. And I think fans are going to be very excited. Again, we're going to learn so much from this game that anything that anyone is speculating on will be answered. Like, I just feel like there's going to be so many answers when you have a first game like this. And I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
I didn't write any of that down, Gary. I'm like
no,
you.
but my speechwriter, included all that, which was a good thing. All right, so new season, CaneSport Live. Obviously, we've got our long-running cast of regulars that have been coming on the show for years, and it's very hard, to figure out who to bring on the show first. So I did a little coin flip thing privately, and your best friend Greg won the coin flip game.
No, he did not. You're lying.
I swear to God, he did. It was totally legit. So without further ado, we're going to bring him on the show, but no, we can't bring him on the show. All right, Greg, I know I'm sure you're watching. You have to connect your microphone before we can bring you on. Okay. So I'm not seeing you hooked up right now, my man. So we'll get back to you in a little bit. So number 2 was Everything 305. So everything, welcome back to CaneSport Live. I hope you enjoyed your off season. Give us some wisdom, my man. What you got for us?
Gary and Matt, good evening.
What's up?
I don't know about wisdom. I don't think I've ever possessed that in my 66 years now, but I'll give it a shot here tonight. Matt, I know we're very similar in that we're not optimists. We're realists. And
that's not the opposite. The optimist of optimist is not realist. Just so we're clear, I don't want to be thrown into that.
Okay.
Grouping.
Okay.
But okay. We'll assume it for the moment. We'll assume it for the moment. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think we've always been pretty honest about what we have and don't have, and the roster is different. The depth is better. There are a lot of boxes that they've checked in the last 4 years, but when you look at all the question marks you have on this team, you still have a question. You don't know what you have on defense yet. We're going to go ahead and stir the pot here and say that they're going to be a great deep. We don't know what you have. We have no idea what we have. We have no idea how good our offensive line is going to be. You got a new center going on. There's a lot of things, a lot of question marks across the board. And the biggest question I have is the durability of the guy playing quarterback. And when you have a surgery like he had this, a couple months ago, what is this? 8 months ago, was it? There's still question marks, and I don't think we can go ahead and put everything on him. I think he's going to come along as the year goes, and I still think we'll be playing our best ball towards the end of the year, the last 6 weeks. And I'm looking at 8-4, and somehow sneaking into the ACC championship game with those multiple tiebreakers that are going to come about. You're going to have Georgia Tech's going to have a great season, I think. Virginia Tech's going to surprise some people. You got a guy that everybody's in awe of. He's only one of the winningest coaches of all time up in Chapel Hill. So, Dabo has a ton of talent, and he's got a ton of experience coming back. But, this conference, if you can really coach, it shows. When you have 2 stars and 3 stars and you're making games, you have a game. I mean, you have a true contest in the fourth quarter against the Clemson, against Miami. When your rosters don't even compare, you look at the coach at Pitt. So across the board, this conference is well coached, and I think that's the biggest concern that we have going in. Can we go ahead and find a way to just go 6-2 in conference, 7-1 maybe? and that's going to be your opportunity to get in the playoffs. I don't see us beating Notre Dame on Sunday. Way too much experience. Coordinators are different. I get all that, but the main voice in that building hasn't changed, and that guy sets the tone day in and day out. He's the real deal. He's the guy that probably won't be there much longer. You talk to NFL owners and agents and all that. He's a hot name. It's not going to be a lot longer. So, in my opinion, that team is going to be very good this year, and it'll be too much for us to handle on Sunday. The level of physicality, I think, is also something that concerns me. You look at 2 defensive tackles. Do we have 2 proven defensive tackles? We don't. You have 2 guys that have decent resumes, that are above average resumes, but they're not the level of talent that you are talking about playing on Sundays. And those are the guys that win you games. And Notre Dame has a lot more of those guys than we do. We like to think that we do, but we really don't. We have a lot of question marks. On the opposite side, you have guys that have a proven track record, with the exception of a starting right guard, I believe, and the kid who's hurt who won't be playing. But I think they've got more talent. I think they're better coached. And, I'm hoping it's a 1-score game at best.
Man, you gave us a lot to unwrap there. Jesus.
I think he went on to Chat GPT and just typed in, what should I say? What should I say to piss off Miami fans? I think that's
man.
He just read Chat GPT's answer. That's all he did.
Yes. First of all,
nobody hates Notre Dame more than I do. I was there for Cleveland Gary. So
listen,
nobody hates Notre Dame more than I do.
If the Canes lose Sunday night, if the Canes go 8-4, I mean, people are going to be jumping off the Rickenbacker Causeway Bridge, man. I mean, it's like it has to be better than that. I mean, it absolutely does. And before anybody starts, no, Mario Cristobal's not under job pressure or anything like that. The last thing anybody that has anything to do with Miami football and the University of Miami administration wants is for Mario Cristobal to not be successful. Okay, they have given him everything he needs to be successful, but there is nobody that's going to be happy with an 8-4 season this year. I could tell you that from the top on down, and they certainly have bigger things than that in mind. Now, your concerns about Sunday night, I think, are legitimate, and this is probably the best opponent of the year. This game could go either way. I also think it'll go down to the fourth quarter. I think you also make a great point about the ACC. The level of coaching, the level of quarterback play in the ACC is way better than anybody wants to give it credit for. And yeah, it's not out of the question that there's a 2-loss team in the ACC championship game. There's just not. But all that said, 8-4 is not going to cut it for Miami. And I agree with Matt. I think you went on ChatGPT and you typed in, how do I piss off Miami fans on CaneSport Live tonight? And that's what you got fed.
Well, like I said from the very beginning, and you know me pretty well by now, I'm a pessimist by nature, and I'm also a realist, and I know what I have and what I don't have. I wanted to point out one more thing with regards to this season. 8-4, you get to the ACC championship game, you win the ACC championship game. Are you allowed in the playoffs because you've won your championship? Or
yes, you're in the playoffs. I mean, let me Gary didn't address all your points.
That's all that matters to me, because if you get in that way, gentlemen, and you're playing your best ball the last 6-7 weeks, and you've got the chemistry you need, and you've pretty much identified who you really are by then, you got a shot.
Well,
you're not Arizona State. Arizona State was right there.
You're not wrong. Playing your best ball at the end of the season is obviously a massive key, and that's a failure Miami's had for 2 decades. But if you have 4 losses at that point, it means you've lost to probably Notre Dame, Florida, SMU, Louisville. Is your team that good that you beat those other 8 teams? Are not very good that you've beaten, right? So is your team? How do you even know if your team's playing well at the end of the year? You're going to beat Pittsburgh and Virginia Tech at the end of the year. I get that on the road. That's nice. Potentially.
Those 2 games, I think, Matt, are pretty much that's when this team comes together. And once you win those 2 games on the road, you're gonna play in front of a good crowd both games, obviously. I think that empowers you. I think that's the catalyst behind going into Charlotte and facing again a crowd that's going to be not pro Miami, but pro whoever else is playing. And that's how you win that game on the road. So you win 3 straight games on the road, and you've got a different mentality. Belief is not just there; it's part of your basic mental makeup now. So that's a big difference.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Like, yeah, you could beat 3 middle of the road AC teams, but are you going to beat Clemson then? Like, it Miami players
Clemson
aren't.
might not be there. You don't know.
Let me. I'm like, you're acting like Gary. Let me finish. Unlike, let me put it this way: Miami football players, they understand if they're playing well or not, and if they've beaten a great team or not. Now, you could say they win these 3 games at the end of the year, but then when you're playing Clemson, they know that's a whole different animal. That's not Pittsburgh. That's not Virginia Tech, right? They have to beat Clemson in your scenario, even if they somehow win these tiebreakers. It's a very hard case to be 8-4 and make the playoffs, make the ACC title game, any of that. Anyway, regardless of that, you also mentioned Carson Beck's health. I want to address that. He had a UCL mesh surgery, not a UCL full repair. This mesh surgery was done by this amazing doctor who actually invented it in California. He did very similar procedures for other major athletes. Are you eating over there, Gary, or is our guest eating here?
That's not me, man. That's not me.
I hear lots of chomping. Anyway, Carson Beck, his arm's fine, like 100%. There's nothing where it's hanging on by a thread or anything like that. When baseball players, for instance, get Tommy John surgeries that are successful, their arms actually become stronger. They can throw harder. They do not have recurrent Tommy John injuries. They do occasionally, but that's not like a thing. So Carson Beck's 100%. 100%. There's no
difference though, man.
with him other than any other quarterback, where if you get hit the wrong way, your ankle gets rolled up on, that happens. But no concerns about his arm whatsoever. And then the other thing you mentioned, because unlike Gary, I keep copious notes. You mentioned the conference. You mentioned the conference is well coached as one of your concerns. Miami's well coached, and yeah, the conference is well coached. It's the ACC. They have really good coaches. They pay them a lot of money. The differentiator is your roster. And, I coached, not that it's a comparable, but I coached, travel baseball for my son and some other things like that. The better rosters outweigh the better coaching, if that makes sense. And that's at any level. Like, that's just a truth about sports. The better players, even if they have worse coaches, will overcome average teams with better coaches for the most part. You can't win with a bad roster, in other words. You can have the best coach in the world coaching Stanford. They are still going to lose 10 games this year, okay? Now, will it make a difference in a few close games? Yes, that's where coaching matters so much. But if your roster differentiation is one standard deviation from the mean better than everyone else's, you're going to be in the playoffs. And Miami's situation this year is they play maybe 3 teams that can compete with them roster-wise, okay? Maybe 3 teams, maybe 4 teams. And Florida and Notre Dame are obviously the 2 most comparable. And that's it. So they out-talent everyone. So the only way they're not going to win these other games is where you have, coaches are making mistakes, or the players just overlook the opponent. They don't show up that day, which also comes back to the coaches, right? So there's no reason Miami shouldn't be 10-2 this year, which is why I'm predicting it. Like, there would have to be something terribly wrong with Mario Cristobal in this program for them to lose 4 games. Something terribly wrong. And I just can't foresee that happening with the amount of work they put in, knowing Mario and these coaches and the work they've put in, and knowing that the roster talent is really good and the depth is much better than it has been.
All right, everything. Hey, thank you for getting us off to a miserable start to the show for the season. Seriously. And we'll see what happens on Sunday night, and I'm sure you'll be back next Tuesday, and we'll chop it up more. Appreciate you.
And Norman Smith wants me to point out that it is the same surgery Brock Purdy had, and he was fine off of it. I think even Shohei Ohtani, the guy did a surgery on Shohei. Like, he's done all these major stars. They haven't had recurrent problems of the same kind. This is not a Carson Beck injury issue whatsoever.
Well,
all right, everything. Thank you, man. Appreciate
it. Healthy, guys. I hope he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, we have a shot.
Oh, Thank you. And just FYI, you're gonna get booted out of the studio because we need your spot. So just come back to watch the rest of the show on the other side.
Take care, gentlemen. Take care. Go Canes.
All right, man. Wow. If that If
I mean, that's the way to start off the season. Listen, I said on Good Morning CaneSport, I said, let's set the bar low so we could be pleasantly surprised and not be disappointed. But I didn't mean it like that. Like, that guy took it literally. He's like, I'm a pessimist. He said, I'm a pessimist like Matt.
I can see all the guys.
Like I'm a pessimist, but I'm not like that. I'm still with the 10
I can
wins.
see all the guys in the studio, and our man Jake, he went running for the wine locker and started like pulling bottles out. He's pouring like crazy at the thought of 8-4. Oh my God! And I can't wait to see what Greg has to say. All right, Greg, I think you have your microphone working again, so let's try this one more time. Greg, welcome back to CaneSport Live. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
We've been good.
I was doing good until 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Anyway, this guy, everything, he's on drugs. 4 losses is getting you into the championship game. What the hell is he drinking? Anyway, by the way, I believe we're going to be favored in 11 or 12 games this year, but we're going to lose 4. Is that what he thinks? Okay. Do you see a lot of similarities to the 2017 game? Notre Dame coming in with an inexperienced quarterback, great offensive line with Quentin Nelson and McGlinchey, and we blew their doors off. Okay? The quarterback, has he ever played, or has he been in mop-up time or something? So you don't think that's a big issue in this game?
Absolutely is.
Carson Beck's seen defenses like Notre Dame, okay, many times. Okay, my next point. If Mario goes 8-4 like everything predicting, how many more years are the Moss brothers going to continue to fund this thing?
Well, first of all,
is this a bottomless pit?
It's way beyond the Moss brothers at this point, Greg. I mean, this thing the budget just keeps like doubling every year. Okay. I mean, this thing is an absolute full commitment by the University of Miami. And there's no turning back. I mean, I don't see anybody pulling the plug. But like, I don't think anyone's going to would be able to stomach 8-4. I'll tell you that. Like, they're not doing all this for 8-4. And, I'm not going to say that it couldn't happen. I think that the schedule is more challenging than a lot of people want to give it credit for. I was on a podcast the other day. Everybody was predicting a 12-0 season. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, like, what are these guys talking about? Like, how many teams in college football will go 12-0? Like maybe usually 1 or 2 by the end of the year. I mean, it's pretty damn hard to go 12-0. But 8-4 would be it would be a real downer, obviously.
Okay, Matt, is your prediction 10-2? Are you going to stick by that, or are you going to flip flop all over the place? You're 10-2. You also said this is the year we definitely go to the playoffs. You've been saying it for years. Do you still stand by that?
You know what? After the last call, I'm changing my prediction to 8-4. He makes a lot of sense. Now I'm sticking by 10-2, Greg. And listen, we're going
to lose to Florida.
I have to predict 2 losses. I'm not going to say 10-2.
Why do you think we're going to lose to Florida? Based on what?
I tried to give you an inkling of why. I said really good quarterbacks make it difficult, which is why I picked 2 teams with great offenses, in my opinion. Right? Florida's receivers have been upgraded. Their quarterback is going to be Heisman worthy, I think. And
the guy had 12 touchdowns and 9 picks last year.
Correct.
Heisman worthy. His receivers are all freshmen, most of them.
I'm sure he's terrible. But listen, here's the point. I'm picking the 2 best offenses I think Miami faces. Okay, with the best quarterbacks that I think Miami faces, with the best offensive schemes I think Miami faces, because I think the only way Miami loses games is when the defense gives up 28 or more points. And I think those are 2 games that could happen, which is why I picked those as my 2 losses this year, okay? Now, you mentioned Notre Dame similarities, so don't be yelling at me when you are saying that Brandon Wimbush was inexperienced entering the Miami game in 2017. He played 8 or 9 games before that for Notre Dame. It was his first year starting. The guy happened to suck. He threw 16 touchdowns the whole year, never played again. So, like, there's no comparison to me. You can't say this is a repeat of 2017, the talent and the this and the quarterback and the that. Totally different scenarios, especially a quarterback. Like, that's the one position there's zero comparison because Brandon Wimbush sucked. And
Do we
CJ
have
Carr,
better talent now or then?
say it again.
Do we have better talent now or in 2017?
This is a better Miami team. This team would beat the 2017 team by 21 points, in my opinion.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. I'm going to lose.
I agree.
Malik Rozier against Carson Beck. I mean, I'm taking
Exactly.
Carson
All
Beck.
right, I got one last point. I got to ask Matt. You got any suggestions for restaurants in Charlotte? Since you're like an aficionado of high class restaurants,
I went to Charlotte for the ACC title game,
right?
and I have not been back since then. And there was no good for.
Well, maybe you'll come back this year.
That's what I'm hoping. They had like a street festival, and I ate some fried stuff. But you have to remember when we're going to games, we're pretty much going for the free food. We're not going to watch the game. We're going for the press box free food, Greg.
Oh, I'm sure.
We don't have to pay for our food. So I'll give you restaurants in Miami, but I'm not going to give you. I could give you New York City restaurants. I grew up there, but other than that.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to give you my prediction, and I'm going to hang up. 27-17 on the way to 12-0. Anything less than 11-1 is a disappointment for Mario. With all the money spent and all the great recruiting, the portal, and all this other junk, he has the roster right now. There's no excuses. Have a great night. See you next time.
How is Greg disappointed with 10-2 in the playoffs? I don't understand.
No, 12-0.
You said that. And then you said anything less than 11-1's a disappointment. I heard what you said, Greg.
11-1.
I heard you. I just think 10-2 is not a disappointment, but I'm just a schmuck.
We were 10-2 last year.
We were 10-3 last year, and we lost
10-2 during the season.
Yeah, we lost 3 of the last 5 games, was it? Yeah.
You can live with 10-2 if it gets you to your favorite city, Charlotte, Greg.
No, I don't want to lose to Florida and Notre Dame. I don't know about you. All right, you go on.
Man.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for coming on. We'll see you next week. I got to boot you from the studio because we need the spot. So if you want to watch the rest of the show, just pick it up on the other side.
All
Thanks,
right.
Greg. Wow. He's asking you about restaurants.
In Charlotte. Hey, listen, at least he knows how to do restaurant reviews on our morning show. I'm impressed. Greg pays attention. Unlike the rest of people, Greg pays attention. He just doesn't understand a lot. No, I'm just kidding, Greg. I'm just kidding. Don't get on me, Greg. Don't be coming for me.
All right. Time to lighten things up here a little bit and go to our main man, Kane, who's extremely
Man,
it's
you
you.
said 93, man.
Yeah.
I heard you say 93. You done changed it 10-2. Fuck it, 12-0. That other guy 305. I don't like Notre Dame. How the hell if you don't like them, you gonna predict us to lose? Get the hell out of here with that shit. Be real to the game. You've been real.
Hold on. Stop yelling for a second. When did I say 9-3 in my column? I said 9-3.
No, earlier you said 9-3 would not be a failure because.
Oh yeah. Okay, so let me explain that.
No. I know how you explain it. I can explain it for you. You made a good point. Mario came in December, right? When he came, early signing period was over. Basically, you are right. He came at the end of that, what was it, 2021, right? Or 22. What year did he come?
The end of
21.
December 21. 2, 3.
Okay, so you made a valid point. Really, it's his 4th year, but his 3rd year with his players coming in. And you said, you know what? I kept telling y'all 4 years. So I'm riding with you with that. I'll take 9-3. I don't want that. I don't think we're going to be that. Gary said, nah, that ain't happening. You saying it ain't going to happen. That thing on 305. You don't like Notre Dame, but you predict them to win. That's what he's doing. He's smoking hard, baby. He's smoking some real new stuff. You hear me? But I ain't going to be up here long because I always wait till after the game. Like I told Gary earlier, I fly out Sunday morning. I'll be there.
I'm coming in 7 games this year. Season ticket. I ain't coming to Bethune-Cookman. We'll beat the hell out of them. But like I said, the defensive coordinator, man, who wouldn't want to play for him? That man look crazy as hell. I'd be scared not to do what he tell me to do. He got his head locked on. Let's get it. Now, you said your boy, Shannon Dawson, with the receivers. I grant it. Got a lot of new receivers. He better make something happen. You're right. This is going to show what he really about. But other than that, we should beat Notre Dame, Florida. Matter of fact, damn all them teams. I don't like SMU, hate Virginia Tech, because I live in Virginia. I don't like none of them. Let's go out there, rock and roll, 305, ride or die. And if I get to see y'all before the season out, hopefully I get to meet you, shake your hand, all that good shit. I'm going to be at the Cane Walk.
I promise you, Kane. I will be at Cane Walk. I got to find you, okay?
Wait a minute. The game started 7:30, so they do the Cane Walk 2 hours before the game, right?
5:30.
Yeah.
5:30. Hell, I'll be out there at 5 smoking a blunt. No, I'm playing, but I'll be on the front line.
I'm going to look for you, man. I'd love to meet you.
I'm going to have this ugly head right here, the 305, because it's orange. Garrett, Matt, don't wear that green shit. Do not wear that green shirt, because you always want to be different. Don't do it. Do not do it Sunday night. Hey, man, it's nice seeing y'all. Glad your family and everybody doing good. Ride or die 305. Damn the rest. Let the rest of them do what they got to do. Ain't no need to talk no more. Wait till after the game. Kick me off, Gary. I'm going to keep listening. Y'all have a great night.
Well, let me tell you something. He should be the honorary captain of the game and give the pregame speech because I'm fired up. I'm fired up. But I'm fired up because you misrepresented my 9-3 argument. I consistently have said 10-2. When I said 9-3, I literally said, would fans be disappointed with that? And here's why they should not. I didn't change my prediction. No. I said fans should not be disappointed, and here's why. But I
understand that. But you said our fans would still be mad any damn way. They wouldn't pay that no mind.
I did it as a poll. It was on the message board, and fans all disagreed with me as they always do. And so I said, okay, I guess I'm wrong. I guess Mario's stuck with 10 wins. Anything less than that, and he's screwed.
We're good. It doesn't matter. Let's do this damn thing Sunday night. Let's do it. Y'all have a blessed weekend. See y'all next week.
We'll see you next week, man. Hopefully we have something good to talk about. Okay. So Sean Stewart says, if we start 4-0, do you think we still go 10-2, Matt?
No, I think we go 11-1 at that point. You know, it's funny. Last year, I went back and looked at this. Every single one of us, as CaneSport staff, we all picked a 10-win season last year. We all were right, but we all had it wrong because if you asked any one of us after they started, what was it, 9-0, right? They started 9-0, I think, right? If you asked any one of us after they started 9-0, we would have changed our prediction to 11.
And we never would have predicted losses to Georgia Tech and Syracuse.
Correct, obviously.
And an almost loss at Cal.
Right. So preseason, as we sit here right now, if I know right now that we're 4-0 going into the back half of the season, I'm predicting an 11 or 12 win season at that point, and maybe even 12 wins. Because if you've beaten Florida and you've beaten Notre Dame, you know, yeah, you beat them both at home, but you're that good as a program and you're clicking that well, there's no one else on the schedule you should not beat. So I would be going, you know, I'd have to see how they won those games because last year there was warning signs, right? We saw those warning signs when they were 9-0. We saw they should have or could have lost to Cal. We saw they should have or could have lost to Virginia Tech. There was another close game in there, right? There was the warning signs. And we saw the same thing that year they started 10-0, whatever that Mark Richt year was, that they were just sort of skating by the skin of their teeth. I don't know why skin of their teeth is an expression. There's no skin on your teeth, but whatever. So if Miami's beating Notre Dame and beating Florida and looking good doing it and not winning because the other team screwed up or something, then I'm going 12-0. If they're barely getting by those games and probably should have lost one of them and got lucky on a last play or something like that, then I'm going to go 11-1. So I sort of have to see how it went down. But I certainly would change it from 10-2 to 11-1 at worst right off the bat if they go 4-0. That's how I would see it.
Yeah, I mean, these things, we try hard to predict this stuff before the season, but it's almost an impossible exercise. There's teams you don't think are going to be good that end up being good. Louisville's one. Nobody's really thinking that much about Louisville. Louisville is going to be a very tough team this year. They're very well coached. And they got a lot of talent there. I mean, those end of the year games at Virginia Tech and Pitt aren't going to be layups for sure. I mean, So there's going to be a lot of. It'll be the usual football season where there's 5 or 6 games at least during the course of the year where the game is in the balance in the fourth quarter, and you got to hope you win your fair share of those. All right, let's go to. We got a newbie. I want to go to a newbie here. Jason G. Welcome to CaneSport Live. How you doing, Jason?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the show, man. This is your first time. I hope you're up to the challenge here. We got some real serious fans on this show.
Well, I gotta say, Greg's got to open, or maybe the last guy. The opener was 8-4. I mean, that was I don't know what that guy's thinking. I mean, that is tough, an ACC championship too. But I do have a few points I wanted to bring up. So I'm thinking about this game against Notre Dame. I don't know how it's going to end, but I do think that the battle is going to be won on first down. I think if you think that this is going to be a slugfest, and you think that we need to get their quarterback into throwing situations, let Bain, let Messidor get after the quarterback, I think it's going to be crucial. You stop the run on first down, and conversely on offense, I think we got to get Carson Beck and our receivers out of 3rd and long. You got to get them into 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2 situations that are manageable. Keep the chains moving. That's my first point. I think that stat is where the game will be won.
Okay, I mean that's a fair point. You're making a little too much sense. Is this still the CaneSport Live show? I don't think we really have callers that make this much sense. I absolutely agree. I think the only thing I would disagree with is I think in a game like this, I think it's going to be low scoring. Okay, so I think instead of the first down thing, I would sort of change that to explosives, because I think the team that has the edge in explosive plays will have a better chance to win the game. I don't think that either team is going to have a tremendous amount of success running the ball. I might be crazy. I posted on the message board yesterday that it wouldn't shock me if Miami outrushed Notre Dame, because everyone's just overlooking Miami, and I do think I do think that Corey Heatherman has a good plan to stop the Notre Dame run. So the question becomes, does Notre Dame break 1 or 2 long runs? Does Notre Dame have success throwing the ball over the top a little bit when Miami's trying to crush the run, and vice versa? Can Carson Beck have those big plays with this new wide receivers group? But it certainly makes sense that the team that wins first down most often is going to win the game and get to 3rd and manageables that way, for sure.
But is it Carson Beck though, or is it Shannon Dawson drawing up plays to create some confusion? Right, we're talking about these question marks on offense, right? We got to go into that game, and there's got to be unique ways to get Lyle the ball in open space, not just an inside run handoff. You got to get him out there, get him catching the ball. You got to get Lofton the ball 7 times, 8 times a game. I mean, if this guy's as good as what you're saying, you have to use him to create mismatches and get other guys open also. That, I think, that falls more on Shannon Dawson than it falls on Carson Beck.
Yeah, it's a big year for Shannon Dawson, no question about it. Elijah Lofton is as good as we've been saying. Hopefully he does get to show it. Like you say, I think one of the challenges for Shannon Dawson, guys, is he can't forget about Elijah Lofton. I mean, tight ends don't get 7 or 8 touches usually. This guy needs to get 7 or 8 touches, at least in different ways. I mean, he might be the best football player on this team if you're just talking about pure football player. I was out there at one day, and Elijah Lofton ran by me, almost knocked me over. Honestly, I might have been dead, to be totally honest. But you could feel the force. You could feel the force. I mean, of that guy. I mean, God help anybody that's going to get in his way one-on-one and try to tackle him head on. I mean, the force that guy moves with is unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, to be honest with you, I was trying to think of who else might have been like that through all the years at Miami. I mean, it was unreal. Okay. I mean, I don't know how to describe it any other way. It was absolutely unreal. That guy is a load, man. And when he gets going, like I said, God help anybody gets in his way. He has got to be a big part of this offense. But you're saying the same thing about Mark Fletcher. You're saying the same thing about Jordan Lyle. You got all those new receivers out there. They all want to eat also. You got a lot of guys that want the ball, and they're going to be looking to spread it around. They're going to rotate enormously. Big challenge for Shannon Dawson is you can't forget about Elijah Lofton, in my opinion. Every drive, that guy has got to be in your mind.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, last point I want to make here. I'm going in. I'm losing you guys. You guys still there?
Somewhat.
Yeah, we're here.
I always like that when they're like, the most important thing I have to say is.
All right, there we go. I think I got you guys back.
We got to upgrade. You got to upgrade your bandwidth. But go ahead, Jason. We can hear you. We hear you.
Working.
No, we hear you.
You can hear me? All right.
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, all right. Last thing I want to say. Well, last thing I want to say is, we're talking about these receivers on offense. They're unproven. They're this or that. How good was our offense last year? I mean, in terms of actual talent, you see who got cut today? Restrepo cut. Jacoby George cut. Sam Brown cut. I mean, we're talking about those guys as if they were, these all-time great players. I know Restrepo broke the receiving record. He did it in 2024. I mean, the offenses have changed since Michael Irvin has been, a Hurricane. I know those guys have experience and maybe they were a little bit, more polished, but if you look at our depth compared to, the talent we say that left, I'm not sure that there's going to be such a significant drop off in the areas that we're saying. I just think maybe we haven't seen it yet, but those guys aren't like top tier NFL dudes, and you can just see it by all of them getting cut today.
Well, I'll weigh in here because it's always hard to take a guy seriously when it's like one of those old kung fu movies where the mouth's moving, but the words don't match up, or a dubbed film. I don't know. It's hard to watch that. But I did hear what you said, despite the lips moving at the wrong times. So my big thing, and Gary disagrees with me, is you don't need to be an NFL level receiver to be a great college receiver. Xavier Restrepo is a perfect example. Charleston Rambo is a perfect example. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I would argue Miami had great receivers last year. Did they have a first-round NFL draft pick receiver? No. And yeah, you want that guy to be your number one receiver, but you can do that without them. And remember, not to throw Emory Williams under the bus, but if Cam Ward's not your quarterback last year, and if Emory Williams is your quarterback last year, you're saying how these receivers were maybe not good. They probably wouldn't have looked real good. Cam Ward elevated everybody around him. He made those receivers look great. Now, can Carson Beck do that to this group of receivers who maybe they're great, maybe they're not? We don't know. But that's really the big key. It's not, hey, are these receivers the receivers were bad last year. They got cut by NFL teams. So these guys, how much worse can they be? You have to remember who's throwing them the ball. And can Carson Beck have similar, ball placement, quick play recognition, mismatch recognition, all that stuff that made Cam Ward the number one overall draft pick, the elite craziness of his ability to just outread, outmaneuver, outfox every defensive player on the field, every defensive coordinator they faced all year. When it didn't work the way he thought it was going to work and they actually tricked him, he would just roll out and do something crazy that worked anyway. There was just no way to stop him. And if Carson Beck can somehow channel a little bit of magic, not with his legs, but with his, he's a guy who they say just innately understands defenses, studies film to the point that it's like 2 + 2 is 4. There's nothing that he hasn't seen. There's no game that's too big for him. So to me, the question isn't, are the receivers NFL level talent this year? Because last year they weren't. It's, can Carson Beck channel some of that magic that we saw last year and make the receivers be great?
I think you're not paying him $4 million to stand and take pictures, right? I mean, I think that's the expectation, and he needs to deliver on that. And my point is, maybe the receivers aren't such a drop off. They'll produce is what I'm predicting.
It'll be a lot more structured than it was a year ago. You saw Jacoby George benefit from some broken plays. I can think of two of them. One in the Florida game. I'm trying to remember what game the second might have been the Cal game, but where Cam Ward
corner of the end zone, the back corner of the end zone, crazy,
and he's working the end line of the end zone, things like that. Like, we're not going to see that same type of football this year. We're going to see much more structured offense. Carson Beck is very cerebral. He's got enormous experience reading defenses. We'll see audibles, but it's going to look different than it looked a year ago. There's not going to be as many broken plays, and I think the guys they have are going to have moments where they look good in this system. CJ Daniels is going to look good at times. I mean, it's not going to be too big for him. He's played a lot of college football. The young guys, I'm very impressed. Malachi Toney is not going to be intimidated by being in college. He might take a quarter or so to get over the excitement. We might see him drop a ball or something like that, but he is just an uncanny talent, and he's going to be really good. I don't know if I just said Josh Moore, but he's another one that's unreal. A guy that I've been really high on, who nobody's going to even think about, is Dalen Upshaw. Every single time I watched anything at practice, this kid was making play after play after play. He's so consistent, and he's got so much ability. And so the receivers are going to be okay. But what Matt was talking about, I'm big on elite. No, a number one, or true number one receiver who can change a game. The way Michael Irvin turned some of those great FSU games in the past with a big play in the fourth quarter. That's what I'm talking about when I'm having that conversation with Matt. Xavier Restrepo got 1 million catches last year, broke all the records. You see what happened when he tried to go play in the NFL. That he's not a number one receiver. I don't care how many catches he had. He benefited from the quarterback and the system getting him the football, and he racked up a lot of catches and whatever. That's not a guy. I don't think anybody was game planning for Xavier Restrepo last year. They maybe should have, but they didn't. I'm not sure we have that dude yet. When I look at Josh Moore, I see a kid that might grow into that. I really do. Malachi Toney, even though he's a smaller slot guy, could grow into that, kind of in the way that maybe like a Roscoe Parrish once did at Miami, for example. He's going to have a great career here. But, I'm looking for elite. I'm looking for Andre Johnson, Michael Irvin, those type of talents. I'll even take, Lamar Thomas, Horace Coppola, that's what I'm looking for when I have these debates with Matt. I'm not sure we have that yet, but I do think one or two of these young freshmen have that kind of capability. All right, Jason. Thank you, man. Appreciate you coming on the show. Come back next week.
Yep. Thank you.
Love when these newbies come on. It's great.
He had some good points.
He had some great points. All right. For one quick second here, Matt, Zach's asking how concerned am I about kickers? And I don't know if you share my opinion, but I wrote a whole column about this last week. Yeah. I think the kicking situation, you got Carter Davis, you got Bert Auburn from Texas, and if you look at their results, they're 50-50 kickers. Auburn's got a little bit better of a record, but he struggled last year, and now he's got to overcome that psychological hurdle, which for a kicker is almost impossible to me. I don't know how a kicker that loses his confidence that can't make a kick in the biggest games of the year at the end of last year, gets run out of Texas, is suddenly supposed to show up at Miami and be Mr. Automatic like Borregales. So I like the leg that I see on Carter Davis. The ball just explodes off his foot. I don't think one of these guys is any more accurate than the other, quite frankly. And I think it is going to have a big effect on the season. I think it's going to alter Mario Cristobal's strategy. I think we're going to see Mario go for it a lot more on fourth downs this year than maybe we saw him the last few years, when you did have a guy that you felt was automatic kicking field goals. And that's probably going to lead to times where people are ripping Mario and saying he doesn't know how to manage games or things like that. I mean, when you're going for it a lot on fourth down, You're going to look good sometimes. You're going to look bad sometimes. And it's really close to a 50-50 thing. Some of the better teams can get to 60, 65. The Philadelphia Eagles with that tush-push play they have, they'll have some skewed percentages. But I do think, I'm concerned in the fact that I think that the head coach is going to have to take some chances that go against the grain of conventional football wisdom, and that's going to be a magnet for a lot of noise at times this year. But I'll understand it. I'll totally understand it. They don't have Andres Borregales this year, so I hope that answers that question. All right, let's move on here, and let's go to our man Jake, who's been very patiently waiting. He's probably into his second bottle of wine now.
Yeah. I'm about to the bottom of one, and I got dinner too. So we're let me.
Welcome back, Jake.
Oh, good to be back. Finally, I had to sit out the last couple weeks last year. I couldn't take it. I couldn't do it. It was so depressing. I just couldn't. I couldn't be a part of it. It was. I'm optimistic. So I am finally this year. I'm on the Mario bandwagon. I'm being. What would I say? Pessimistically optimistic about this season.
That's a good one. I like that.
He knows how it is. A couple of things that I love. These kids now, I hate how much these kids are getting paid. It's disgusting. The money's to be made in the NFL. I think this whole NIL thing is so wildly out of control. It's gross, but these kids are now getting paid 6 and 7 figures. And to the best of my knowledge, no one's getting arrested. There was a very unfortunate incident in the spring, but that was it. Like these guys seem to be disciplined, and with this kind of money in Miami, to have that kind of player discipline, I think is very impressive. So that tells me there's system buy-in with the players, with the staff. You got to be overseeing this and making sure these kids are staying out of trouble with that kind of money rolling around the program. I like that. I hope that is an indication of things to come. I know it sounds trivial, but that's no small feat. We've seen in the last 20 years all the problems we've had in the off season. For him to be able to control that with the kind of money flowing through the program is impressive. That's just a personal take of mine. With that being said, I think this is a 10-2, 11-1 season, but I also think that there is a certain imperative that if we do not get to the ACC championship game at the bare minimum, I don't see a future for Mario. I think that's where we're heading. I think that's what this team is more than capable of. But you've got two very, very good quarterbacks. And I hope in the future, this is the plan at quarterback. Just go get them in the portal. You got to pay these top tier college kids a fortune anyway when you're bringing them out of high school and they haven't played a minute of college football. Go pay a proven commodity. I hope Shannon Dawson turns Carson Beck into a first-round pick. They pay Dawson a fortune and say, hey, look, Mr. third or fourth round quarterback, you want to come be a first-round quarterback? Come here. Come play your last game here or last games here. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I've been yammering on quite a bit.
I think you're right. I mean, I haven't seen anything to suggest, and I think Luke Nichols a good prospect. I think Emory Williams is a good prospect, but I haven't seen anything that convinces me that 3 months from now, when they have to make the decision about next year, that they're not going to be looking to see who's in the portal to see who wants to come in and compete with those guys, because you can go get a whale every year if you have the budget, and they have the budget.
Well, they got the budget. Hopefully, after this year, they'll have the pedigree. If
I mean,
if you bring Carson back to where he was, he was supposed to be Cam Ward last year. Everyone forgets that, but he going into the season last year, he was Cam Ward. He was the number 1 pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah. Listen, parents aren't going to like it. Some people aren't going to like it. But to me, the onus is on the young quarterbacks to develop. Get to the point where you're as good as what they can go
I think
get.
I'm about to get yelled at here.
Trust me, they will not go to the portal.
Wife is here. Come on, you got to go.
Anyway, I'm going to be at the game. We're flying into Miami this week.
That, right?
I can't wait. This is a game, to me, this is so winnable. You have a unproven quarterback versus a guy who was 24-2 or so in the SEC. This is a no-brainer. You got to win this one. Hard Rock's going to be insane on Sunday. It's the only game in town that day. Everyone's going to be drinking all day. I'll probably have a few behind me as well. And you got to take advantage of that. And actually, so the one other comment or thing I would say is I'm fully confident Mario is going to have this team ready, and we're going to kick the shit out of Notre Dame. I think we're going to win by 2-3 touchdowns, much like we did against Florida last year. The key is we can't have these jerk-off losses to Georgia Tech or Syracuse. Mario, in the last 5 years, his teams have collapsed at the end of the season. He has to finally get better at the end of the year, not worse. Since his last 2 years at Oregon, his teams have gotten worse as the season goes on. He has to end that this year.
I don't think getting worse is the thing. And what happened last year is, as they got into the second half of the season, teams had a book on what Lance Guidry was doing defensively, and that made the offenses much more effective against Miami's defense than they were earlier in the year. That's what happened, and he didn't adjust. Yeah. He got stubborn and he didn't adjust.
Look, I want to add something here because I think I'm going to say this for every Miami Hurricanes fan out there, okay? I don't know what that lady said to you, Jake, but it seems like you need to go.
Go to dinner. We have a birthday party that we arranged, so I got to get to it. But
yeah. I also will say this. I will also say that I'm very impressed that being on this show and talking about the Miami Hurricanes apparently is more important than your personal life or whatever the hell's going on with whoever's birthday party.
I'm on Mountain Tide now, and it's messing with me because we're in the middle. Normally, I'd actually have no problem having a dinner reservation at like 9 o'clock at night or whatnot, but I can't ask that of others. So yeah, we're heading off to. All
right, go to the birthday party. And
all right, Jake. Hey, no weeks off this year. I don't care what happens. No weeks off.
If Mario collapses at the end of the year, I'm out. I think I'm just out. Period. But we're gonna win. We are gonna kick the shit out of them on Sunday, and I can't wait to be there to witness it. So I'm looking for another 2017 performance.
All right, Jake. Have a great trip. Have a great trip.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Poor Jake. Someone's calling him Tom Brady Jr. Someone else said he's the mayhem guy from the Allstate ads. But listen, my thing that I don't want to interrupt, but
he's gone.
My thing is, you can take a transfer portal quarterback forever, and you're like, they have the budget for it, But the long-term way to win in NIL, the long-term way to win, period, with the current system, is to essentially do what NFL teams do, right? Which is the rookie contract is how NFL teams win championships, because they're paying guys who are really good not that much money a lot of times those first 3 years. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And if you can get guys like Francis Mauigoa's, who you think can be great, and you pay him money, but certainly not what he's worth, right? Because he's out of high school, you don't know, but he's a first-year starter, second-year starter. You get those guys sort of on a budget. It's not a bargain budget, but it's a bargain budget for what you just got. And if you can identify those guys and pay them that high school salary to be your NFL rookie salary guy in year one, that frees up so much money compared to these other programs that are competing with you that have the $20-30 million budgets, whatever it may be, right? That now you have that extra money to get the position you really need. So that's why it's so important. You can't just say, oh, just get everyone in the portal. Who cares about recruiting? Who cares about developing? You need to do both. And you only should need a handful of free agents every year and spend the rest of your money on these, the NFL rookie salaries, and then keeping those guys there, keeping those guys at the program. After you've saved the money on the NFL rookie salaries, you invest the rest in their remaining years. That's how you build a recurring team that's financially viable, where you're not just blowing through money that's gone after a year with portal guys. Because let's face it, you can pay the Carson Becks of the world for probably $7 or $8 million next year, right? It just keeps exponentially growing. And that's just out the window a year later. They were here for 1 year, and if that year wasn't successful, you just blew $8 million of your budget that could have gone to 4 linebackers, that are young guys. That's the mathematical formula and equation that Mario Cristobal has to deal with and has to figure out and has to do correctly for this to every year be a team that can compete for titles, and not just, 1 year they're great, 1 year they're bad, 1 year they're good, 1 year they're great, 1 year th're bad, which is what FSU is doing by just trying to live and die in the portal.
Well, sometimes having money, it becomes like spending it becomes like a drug. When you have these open-ended budgets, it takes on less meaning when you're spending insane amounts of money. So I think the word might be discipline, down the road. But listen, there is no reason to go. If you're Miami and you've got the budget and everything, there is no reason to go into a season without an elite quarterback. And the onus is on the kids you're recruiting to develop into that. Luke Nickel, you have a chance over the next few months on the practice field to show you are that kind of quarterback. Emory Williams, same thing. You worked incredibly hard over the offseason. I'm not seeing the consistency yet. I want to see more consistency out of you when you get opportunities this year. Those guys have got to become good enough. And if they're not, the coaches would be committing malpractice if they didn't go out and get the best quarterback they can get. All right, real quick, Matt, Carlos Walker says you have Miami losing 2 games at home. You're not a good team if you don't take care of the home field. He's got a hell of a point, Matt. You can't lose 2 games at home and be a great team.
Every game they play this year is at home. They play 8 of their first 10 games at home. How am I going to predict any losses on the road? Who are they going to lose to? They're all home games this year. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's go to Adam. Adam, welcome back to CaneSport Live.
Hey, Gary. Hey, Matt. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man. I see you didn't get a haircut this offseason.
Nope, letting it grow out. A couple things. One with somebody had mentioned it earlier, all the UM players getting released. With both Martinez and Brown getting released, and with NIL, do you think they would have been better served just staying another year in college, getting the NIL money, and then also improving their draft stock at the same time?
In retrospect, yeah, but I mean, they're all these. You have to remember, all these guys are being pushed and swayed and told things that aren't always true. And every player, this is the hard part for a college football. I won't call them student athlete, just athlete. Their goal is to make the big money in the NFL. Yeah. And like I just said a few minutes ago, the big money in the NFL comes after your first contract. The rookie contract's 3 years. So if you and NFL running backs in particular have a very limited lifespan and an age span where teams aren't going to want you when you're a certain age, just because the metrics tell people that by age 29 you're washed up as a running back, right? There's no 30-year-old running backs, because he would be back in college football taking a pounding just like he would in the NFL. Okay, and your body only has a lifespan of this many years according to the NFL. By this age, you're going to be a problem with injuries. So with that in mind, for Damian Martinez in particular and his running style, I think he didn't feel he had a choice. If he was going to make the big money in the NFL, like, he had to go, and he had to hope and that it would work out, and it didn't, right? So in retrospect, of course, come back, make your $1 million, and you're probably not going to have a big career in the NFL.
I mean, come back for the NIL opportunity more so than improving your draft stock. I mean, I don't think either of those guys was going to improve their draft stock beyond what it was. I mean,
yeah. A couple other things. One, we haven't really talked about, do you see Corey Heatherman? Because obviously all the talk is on Jeremiah Love and whoever I think that's his name, the Notre Dame running back, first team preseason all whatever.
Did you call him Jeremiah McLovin? Is that what you called him?
No,
McLovin?
Jeremiah Love. I think that's his
okay.
name.
All right.
I just can't remember because I know they have. But do you see Heatherman putting 8 in the box and forcing CJ Carr in his first game to say, okay, if you're going to beat us, you're going to beat us passing the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can let Love beat you. I'll tell you that. I mean, the guy is one of the best running backs, obviously, in the country. I mean, you know this going in. Vaughn is asking, anyone else think that Love's overrated? I think it depends on your perspective whether you think Love is overrated. But this Love, the running back, is certainly not overrated. I mean, he is damn good. And for Miami on defense, you got to start with stopping him.
Okay.
You remember the old days? Virginia Tech used to put 9 in the box. You know, Heatherman runs a 4-2-5, but this game, it will be a 4-3. They will have 3 linebackers in the game constantly, in my opinion. You know, maybe they'll have a third safety, a Dylan Day, for instance, in the game constantly. This will be a physical sort of, you know, gutted out, massive battle at the line of scrimmage. And Corey Heatherman knows they can't afford to lose that battle. And I think he has enough faith in his cornerbacks to be one-on-one constantly that he's not going to have a choice. You know, if his defensive tackles are holding up, then it's different. Okay. But if those defensive tackles are getting pushed around, he's not going to have a choice. You got to go 8-9 in the box fairly frequently. And of course, you have to mix up the coverages a little bit and sort of show things and back off of them and just sort of keep it confusing for CJ Carr. You can't do the same thing over and over again. But at the end of the day, they're going to stack that box, man, because they don't have a choice. Like, you have to stop the run and force Notre Dame to pass the ball with an inexperienced quarterback, period.
Okay. And how is our D-line depth? I know our DN depth is great with Lightfoot, with Bain, with Mestor. How's the D-line with Blay?
You talking about tackles?
Yeah, tackles.
No, it's not great. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's great. It's not great. You know, you might have a true freshman playing in the rotation, Dante Simpson. I mean, it's the one position on the team. I would say defensive tackle and kicker are probably the 2 positions on the team that they don't feel that they did the job they needed to do.
So will the kicking be bad as like 18-19 when we had Bubba Baxa and Abraham Murray?
How dare you? How dare you, sir? Bring up the Baxa name. Besmirch the Bubba. Do not besmirch the Bubba Baxa.
I would say anything goes. Like, you don't know yet.
Look, everyone's worried about kicker. Here's the thing with kicker. This tells you everything you need to know. They had Carter Davis in the spring, right? They had a scholarship kicker in the spring in addition to Carter Davis. That guy left because Carter Davis was better than him. But Miami's like, Carter Davis isn't good enough, so we're going to bring in Bert Auburn from Texas, right? And I think Carter Davis is going to be the starting kicker, which tells you everything you need to know, because if Miami thought that they had the answer in Carter Davis, would they bring in another kicker and pay another kicker? Like, if Andy Borregales was the kicker in the spring, would they bring in another kicker in the fall? No. So that implicitly tells you the fact that Carter Davis, if he is the kicker, which I think he will be, it implicitly tells you they just don't think they necessarily have what they need there, right? If Bert Auburn had come in and beat out Carter Davis, I would have felt better about it because, hey, he's better than what they had, and that's what they wanted. They needed better. They knew they needed better. That's why they brought this guy in. But if Carter Davis is the guy out there kicking that first field goal, man, then, you know, it tells you just logically all bets are off. Like, it's just going to be a crapshoot at kicker.
I mean, he's got a crazy leg. I mean, wait till you see his leg.
He's 4 for 11 in his 3 years at FAU.
4 for 11 as a field goal kicker in college football.
He was a backup kicker for multiple years at FAU.
FAU, correct.
Because of accuracy, not because of leg strength. Barry keeps talking about his leg strength. Because of accuracy, he was the backup kicker. He was their kickoff specialist.
Yes.
But he couldn't make a damn field goal.
Yeah.
Well, have you been able to see any of like field goal kicking on Green Tree to say at least they're not missing it by like 15 feet to the right or left?
We have, and I'm not going to comment too much on that. To be honest with you, I don't really have any desire to get banned from being out there. But
there's some things we can't discuss.
There's some things we can't talk about. But I think that the overall issue is legitimate, and it's going to be a subplot of this season. How many critical kicks are they going to have to be in a position to take, and how many times is Mario going to choose to go for it on 4th down in lieu of kicking field goals?
Okay.
I think anything 4th and 3 or less, that's inside that's between probably the 20 and 40, they're going to go for it. Like, that's just what they're going to do.
Okay.
But remember, in the Louisville game last year, Mario went for it on 4th down twice from his own territory. I mean, this is not a coach afraid to go for it on 4th down. I think we're going to see a lot of 4th down plays this year. That's just what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
Okay. And final thing on the recruiting front, are we really in the game for Derek Cooper and the Northwestern guy committed for Texas, or is it all lip service?
100%.
They're looking for a field trip to Miami.
You're in the game on both those kids till the very end. And, you know, you got to remember, signing day is not till December. Okay. You know, you take the Derek Cooper situation, you can't just drop an insane offer on the table for the sake of beating Texas in the month of July or June or July. That is you know, not a winning strategy. It pisses off your current players. It just sets the market for somebody else to come in and outbid you later. Miami will be in the game for those kids right till the end. We'll see what happens. I don't have a prediction or anything.
And
you know,
will they be in the market for Calvin Russell? God knows why he picked Syracuse, but
absolutely, 100%. Signing day is not till December. We'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. You know.
Well, thanks for having me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but the time to make that, you know, that final push is not in the summer. You make it in December, and you know, that's what I think we'll see in those situations. All right, Adam, thank you for being part of the show, man. We'll see you hopefully next week. All right, let's go to we got another newbie. Let's check this guy out. Armando Izaguirre. What's up, my man? Welcome to CaneSport Live.
Wow, that is incredible. Nobody ever gets that right on the first try, Gary. Wow.
I did it good. Izaguirre?
Yeah, that was perfect.
Yes.
I'm not a newbie.
Wait. What are you taking us on a tour of here? Where are we going?
I want to get out. I want to get out of the kitchen. That way, my wife doesn't hear me. She's gonna come out. We don't get another visitor. I'm not a newbie. I've actually been calling for a while. I've been listening since the first show, back during the Al Golden days. Appreciate you guys. I just wanted to come on here tonight and just share my excitement for the season, because I don't agree with some of the skeptics who are saying that we're going to go 8-4, or even Matt, who I typically agree with on a daily basis. I don't even understand how you would expect us to lose to Notre Dame and Florida. I
didn't say they lose to Notre Dame and Florida, just so you know. I said if I have to pick my two losses, it's Notre Dame. I said it's Florida and Louisville are my two losses.
Oh, okay, Florida. Well, I'm
saying 10-2. I got to get to 10-2 somehow, right? I have two losses. Those are my two.
Yeah, well, I don't even. I think Billy Napier's out after this year. Outside of the
the quarterback. They did that last year too, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, outside of the quarterback, well, the quarterback's kind of his saving grace, and it's kind of like the whole Al Golden and the Brad Kaya, and how he kind of stuck him in there as a freshman to kind of like save his skin. But I think we're gonna have a great year. I wanted to I know that you're not going to say too much, but I'm expecting some creative things on defense for the defensive line. I can't believe that we're going to go into this season with, DNs completely stacked and, 3 defensive tackles. But obviously you guys aren't going to say that on here. And offensive personnel, like I'm so excited about, what Elijah Lofton, everybody's just been singing praises for Elijah Lofton all off season. I'm expecting a lot out of him. I hope that I know that you kind of brought it up on the morning show, where the offense is going to be kind of a vanilla. I know those aren't your words, but I'm expecting, I don't think that, they're going to be, like in practice. I'm pretty sure they're limiting what you're allowed to see. And I'm expecting a lot this year. So, I don't know what our record's going to be. There's going to be 2 losses into somewhere. Hopefully it's not 2 ACC losses, maybe Notre Dame or someone else, or hopefully I hope that it's not Florida, because I'm not a believer in Florida. I think their trajectory is, on a downward. They're on a downward trajectory, but I think that we're gonna have a great year, and I'm so excited. I listen to you guys every morning, and Matt, I don't care what anybody says. You're the star of the show. Okay,
Oh, thank you.
you cannot leave us with Gary here. We've been listening to him for so long. And no, man. I don't care how much you want to get off the show.
That's
You're
what
not
about
allowed to. You're not allowed to leave the show.
It's people like you that are ruining my life. Okay, because I do not want to be on that show. Like, it's not a joke. I do not want to wake up and do that show. And Gary keeps saying, "Oh, people seem to like you." I'm like, nobody likes me. Now you like me. Now I got to be on the show. This is great. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. How do you pronounce his last name correctly, Gary? That's amazing.
Is it Gary?
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a good night. I'm gonna get off and let.
All right, Armando, man, come back next week. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Here's something I want to just bring up. I mean, not everybody, but there's a lot of guys, Matt, that are in a hurry to put Mario Cristobal on a hot seat. Okay, and like, I don't think anybody understands the ramifications of Mario failing. Mario Cristobal cannot fail in this job. I mean, it just cannot happen. I mean, Nick Saban is not walking in and taking, Miami to the promised land. They are 100% all in invested on Mario Cristobal, have been from day one. And, I don't think we could sit here and say as we go into year 4, there hasn't been a championship or anything, but like, I mean, I don't have the feeling that Mario's failing. I mean, I'll get accused of being biased towards Mario like I usually do, but like, I don't feel like he's failing. I mean, they had a nice season last year. They screwed up a couple games because they weren't good enough on defense, but like, the program has certainly been on the right trajectory since he arrived. And this is a season full of hope. I mean, there's no reason why Miami cannot reach their goals this year. But Matt, it's not a guarantee. And if it doesn't happen, I don't think it means that Mario's on a hot seat.
Well, look, the hot seat thing is just, it's so overstated and overplayed. He's not going to be in the hot seat, but so many things do get affected if you have a bad season, right? From recruiting to donors to fan support. I mean, we've seen it before. It's a vicious cycle, and it can end careers very quickly. I can't imagine it happening in even a 1 or 2 year span for Mario, just the way things are going. It's very upward trajectory wise. But, I do want to address something else. Like, I was just on our YouTube channel for the Good Morning Show. Somebody, I point out no team's perfect. Okay. I know fans want to think that everything's amazing at every position and he's fixed everything. Mario's fixed everything and there's no way we can lose a game. We'll be 12-0. Like Greg said, 11-1 would even be a disappointment almost, right? And so, somebody's listening to the show and his name is Andy _K3703. I don't know why his parents named him that. It's a weird name to give a kid, but he said, the way Matt's talking, it's a 7-5 season. He took all my joy away, which is my job. My job is to make people joyless. But outside of my job, I don't understand how I can keep saying 10-2 for 2 straight years. Like I said this way before last season. I'm like, this is the trajectory I see. And it's been fairly consistent, right? I think I predicted, the first one was 5-7. Most people predicted 9 or 10 wins. I predicted 8 that year. And then I was at like 9 and then 10 last year. The 10 coming to this year, obviously, is 10 last year and 10 coming to this year. And I keep saying 10 wins this year over and over again, 10-2, 10-2, 10-2. But when people hear me point out that this is not a perfect team, they like become a piece of blubber and like dissolve and think like the whole season's gone and Mario doesn't know what he's doing. Like, I don't understand why it's not okay to say some things, We're not talking about government financial numbers that we're just going to sweep under the rug. We're talking about real facts. And the real facts are, there are question marks at defensive tackle. There are question marks at wide receiver. There are even question marks with safety depth. There's a lot of things that we don't know going into the season. And the teams that have the more know-ins heading into a year, the better the perception is going to be of that team, and the better you know what you're going to get as a finished product. So all that I keep trying to point out to people is we don't know what this is going to look like. Because when you have 11 starters out of the portal, including special teams, okay, and it may even be 12, depending on how things shake out. I think the first depth chart will actually have 12 when we get it on Sunday, probably 2 minutes before the game, because Mario has to keep it a secret, unlike Notre Dame, which released it today. That creates a lot of questions in itself, because those guys have been here, some of them for 3 months, some of them since January, but they were coached at different programs. They produced in different ways and were used in different ways at different programs than are going to be done here. And so that creates its own question marks also. So when you add up all the question marks, that's all I point out, and I'm sticking by 10-2 because I feel like I have a grasp of what they're trying to do and how they feel about some of these transfers. But that's why this first game is so absurdly important, to the point of almost being like an extraterrestrial object that you have to fly a spaceship to and look at to understand it. Because we don't know for sure until we see what it looks like against a finished product, right? Because Notre Dame has so many pieces back from a team that went to the national title game. Yeah, they have a new quarterback they're breaking in, but their running backs, 4 of their offensive linemen, 2 of their receivers, most of their secondary, all their linebackers. They have 2 of their defensive ends now that started games last year that are going to play in this game, right? And a defensive tackle. So like, so many of their pieces are back that we know what they did. So if we beat that on Sunday evening, which I'm predicting we will do, that will answer a heck of a lot of questions for us, right? Does it mean Miami's now a perfect team? No, it doesn't. I'm still going to predict 2 losses no matter what they do against Notre Dame. Like, that's my prediction, okay? And I'm going to stick by it because I know it's not a perfect team. But I think when we do our morning show on Monday morning, hopefully at some time, late Monday morning. It'll be Tuesday morning. We'll have to do it Monday. Monday's an off day. We're not doing a morning show on Sunday night for Monday morning, correct? Or Monday morning for Monday, whatever. It's a night game. So on Tuesday, tune in for the Good Morning Show.
We're going to do a show Monday. I mean, I'm not going to promise.
Monday during the day, we're going to do a show.
Promise it's going to be there at 5 a.m. But
Sunday night at 7:30. We're not taping Monday at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m.
I just said we probably won't tape at 5 a.m. Yeah,
we'll tape at some point that day. Okay,
it might be a little later in the morning.
Monday, whatever time Monday we tape our show, 11 a.m. whatever. We're going to be discussing things that we will now know, have a much better idea.
Nobody's sleeping till 11 a.m. after that game. You know how wired you're going to be when that game ends at 11 o'clock at night? You think you're sleeping till 11 a.m. the next morning? There's no chance. We'll have a show up Monday morning, but it won't be at 5 a.m.
Whatever. My point is that show is going to be really, I wish I could watch it now because I'm really interested to see what I'm going to say and what you're going to say after we watch 3.5 hours of Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, it's going to be.
And by the way, I need to go. I have a kids party I got to go to. Jake just sent me an invite. I got to go.
All right. Yeah, I know.
Jake.
I know we got to get you out. Matt, thanks for being part of the show. Your legion out there is certainly happy, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Go Canes.
All right. Matt Shodell, everybody. All right. Now it's time to really get the party started, and there's only one place to go if we're going to light it up here and get this thing going. And we're going to start with our man T-Dog. What's up, buddy? How are you? You got the shots ready? I got mine ready for you. Thank you for the advance warning. I got mine ready. We going? All right.
What are you taking shots of?
Grey Goose.
Oh, okay. Tequila. 1800.
Oh, thank you for you gave me the advance warning, so I was ready for you.
No doubt. I'm glad Matt left before I can jump on his ass because I was about to get on him about the 11-2. I'm sorry, 10-2. I don't see them doing anything less than 11-1. And depending on how we look in the first game, I know it's the first game, so it's kind of hard to judge how they're going to look for the rest of the season. But if they have a pretty decent performance in the first game, I don't see them losing the game other than maybe like a hiccup or something. I'm predicting 11-1. I think the UF game is going to look very similar, maybe not style-wise, but points-wise, because I think that kid is going to be hurt before he sees us. I don't know if y'all been paying attention. He's injury-prone. That quarterback for UF is injury-prone. And that LSU game is going to be a motherfucker for them, man. it's going to be a motherfucker for them. So I think that kid's going to be banged up by the time he comes down to South Florida. If he's even in the game, he won't be affected because he's going to be lingering with injuries or whatever. So I predict 11-1, some mix up, some slip up maybe toward the end of the season with either SMU or Pitt or somebody like that. I think we're going to be shocked on how good we really are on both sides of the ball. I think that's what was missing last year. We were enamored by the offense, which rightfully so. But the defense was just so piss poor. It was just hard to really get behind that team as far as long expectations. I had a feeling if they did make it to the ACC that they weren't going to go far because that defense was just so bad, man.
Yeah, it's going to be better. I mean, there's problems at defensive tackle. There's not enough depth there.
Yeah.
But
I think that's what the DC was basically trying to say when Matt was saying he was surprised by his comments about the offense. I think what that meant, and I put it in the board, is because the O line is elite and the D line is not really elite. They have some pieces on the D line, but it's not elite. And until that D line catches up to the O line, our defense will never be like what it should be.
And I agree with you. It's not close yet. And the thing that, obviously we have great hopes for Bain and Mesidor, but what I got to see is, with Ruben Bain is he a true edge rusher? I mean, I felt from the time he arrived that he should be playing inside, that he would be like Warren Sapp inside but that's not what he had in mind for himself. And, can he, again, and we'll see Sunday night because this is a decent offensive line. Can he, against the decent offensive line, be a speed rusher at times? He's not going to necessarily always be successful as a bull rusher. He'll get his half dozen sacks over the course of the year and stuff, but no argument. But I mean, if you're going to be like, what a Rusty Medeiros was when he was at Miami, what a Danny Stubbs was when he was in Miami, you're going to put up big double-digit sack totals. You got to be able to outside rush sometimes.
Yeah.
I want to see that. He's lost some weight. He looks the best to me that he ever has. I'm really interested to see just what kind of game Ruben Bain is able to put together on the big stage.
I think he has an opportunity to look like he did his freshman year. But again, and I've been saying this on the board consistently as well, that length from him is missing. I mean, you think about the really, really good defensive ends, you have to be long. Not just fast, but long, because sometimes the speed doesn't get you there, but that arm stretch, that length disrupts the quarterback. It gets him off his spot. You maybe even strip the ball. Think about Joe Jackson. He wasn't really all that great, but he was really, really, really long, right? That length helps. Jalen Phillips as well, a longer defensive end, had speed and length. So that length to me is missing from him. But we'll see. I'll never doubt the man's heart. He seems like the type of guy that you want in the trenches, so I'm all for it. I want to piggyback off what y'all were talking about earlier about the quarterback position. I'm really big on going forward, man, just getting the best guy back there. I told y'all, I've been saying it for years on the board. If you have a quarterback, you have a chance. I've been saying it for years and years and years before we even got Cam. Cam really proved that last year. He did it with subpar talent. None of that talent has even made an NFL roster thus far, other than Elijah, who we all kept saying Elijah Arroyo was the best person on offense as far as talent, and he's tearing it up in Seattle. I've been hearing about his camp. So yeah, we have to get a quarterback every year. I don't want to hear what about developing? Yeah, if that guy is that guy, cool. But if not, don't hesitate to pull the trigger and go get the next Cam, Beck, whomever is out there, because I don't have time to waste. I'm not going back to the old days of Malik and who else do we have a quarterback that was just atrocious? Like all those quarterbacks we've had for years that don't, Nkosi, even though he had a game or two, like I don't want to go back to those days. Cam has set the standard. Beck is continuing it. I do not want to go below that threshold anymore.
No argument. If you're a young quarterback on this team, the onus is on you to get good enough. If you're not good enough to play at that level, why would the coaches not go to the portal? You have to.
Yeah, this is football is different now. This isn't the old days. This is a passing game. NFL, college, even high school now. Really, really good high schools have good quarterbacks. You have to have a quarterback before anything. I would take that before anything. And then right after that, it's O-line for me. But quarterback is number one. If you don't have that guy, you don't stand a chance. So, but I wanted to close on this. I told you that Damian Martinez, when you and I went back and forth last year, I was not shocked to see he got cut, bro. He was too stiff, too slow. He ran upright. Might have been good for college. I thought he was even just average for college, to be honest with you, because when I saw Chris Lyle run, I was like, that looks nothing like what Damon looks like when he runs the ball. So the guy that we have now, Chris Lyles, Jordan Lyles. I don't know why I say Chris. Yeah. Jordan Lyles. Some of the guys that's behind him, that is what a running back looks like. I'm hoping that Fletcher, maybe a little trimmed down and slimmed down, might have a little bit more wiggle, but you have to have some explosiveness in your game as a running back. Like big boys running the ball, Ron Danes of the world, those days are over, man. You got to have a fast, twitchy, catch the ball out of the backfield type of guy. Everybody can't be Saquon, I understand that, but you got to have something very similar in that mold for your running backs, in my opinion, for them to be special. And that's what that kid at Notre Dame, that's what he is. The Love kid, that's what he is. He's a fast, twitchy, get in and out of the hole quickly. That's the kind of running back you got to have. I don't want any more stiff, run straight up and down, run into somebody. Like, bro, what is that? You know how many runs last year Damian Martinez literally ran into the defender? I'm like, you had like 10 yards between you and the guy, and you still ran into him? Like, make him miss, make a move. Like, that should have been taken to the house. He literally ran right into the guy with like 10 yards in between. No. That's not a running back, bro.
All right, T-Dog, you got anything else real quick?
No, that's about it. Just don't start the show again with the 305, man. That dude, man, he could catch the lottery and be complaining about taxes, man. Like that dude.
I hope he doesn't end up being right. That's all I got.
No. If they lose 4 games, Gary, and I know you keep saying like Mario, if not Mario, but if they lose 4 games, Gary.
Yeah, who are you going to go get? Who are you going to go get that's doing a better job here than Mario?
How do you think you're going to get the next Jeremiah Smith down there? They losing 4 games.
Listen, they screwed up on Jeremiah Smith because they didn't anticipate where the NIL market was going.
Right,
if they had better anticipated where the NIL market was going at the time that Jeremiah Smith made that decision, they would have put $2 million down in front of that kid and they would have gotten him.
You think
okay? So? Oh yeah, Ohio State got him for a little over $1 million, I think. If I remember correctly. I mean, they would not.
Coaching, though, you don't think the coaching of Heartline was tugging at his heart?
But if you're Miami in that situation, you got to come hard, man.
And at the time, we didn't know who our QB was. You don't think that played a part too? Like that? I mean, as a receiver, you got to have a quarterback to get you the ball.
Yeah, Cam Ward making a quicker decision definitely would have helped. No argument. No argument. But I still say that they did not realize where the NIL market was going. I mean, today Jeremiah Smith's a $5 million player.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, he was a little over a year ago, he was a $1 million. I mean, this is where this has gone. I mean, I'm not saying it's good. It's insane. But, I think that nobody understood, and I wouldn't blame anybody for it. I mean, it's just nobody realized the way this was going to escalate. And if they did, then I think that, maybe it might have played out a little differently. But all right, T-Dog, have another shot for us, man.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Let me pour a little bit, man. Yeah, go out with a bang.
There you go, man.
See you boys next week.
All right, thanks, T-Dog.
I'll be at the. Ooh, that one hit. I'll be at the game with the fam. We're gonna be about 8 deep, section 119. So if you want to come holler at me, come holler at me. We're like seven rows. We're like 7 rows from the field. So 119.
All right, T-Dog. Thanks, man. Yep. Bye-bye. All right. 904 is asking about Elijah Lofton comparing to Alonzo Highsmith, and then he throws out DJ Williams. There's some comparisons there, certainly size-wise. Elijah Lofton, to me, is so unique. I mean, DJ Williams was maybe somewhat similar, but I don't remember DJ Williams lining up a tight end and running routes down the field. I mean, he would run routes out of the backfield when they used him at running back. Elijah Lofton is a unique talent. The onus, like I said earlier in the show, is on Shannon Dawson to figure out how to use him. And if you figure out how to use him and you don't forget that he's there, he's going to have a monster year. I really feel that. This kid is really, really, really a special talent. All right, let's go to our man, Sebastian. What's up, Sebastian? I know you've been waiting patiently. Welcome back to CaneSport Live. How you doing, man? How's your off season been?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Had a pretty good off season. I have to tell you, the picture of loyalty is me walking through the mall trying to make sure that I get a chance to hang out with you guys. And I moved from well, I'm out here in Denver on business when I'm normally on the East Coast, and I just could not miss the show tonight. So
Oh,
thanks
thank
for
you,
bringing me
man.
on.
We couldn't imagine having it without you. So thank you.
So a couple of good questions. My first question is, could you tell me one true freshman or two true freshmen that you really believe needs to deliver for Miami this year? And I'll tell you my two picks.
Malachi Tony, certainly I would put on that list. Josh Moore, I would put on that list. On the offense for sure. If I had to pick somebody on defense, I'd say maybe Hayden Lowe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My two picks was going to be I think one of the tight ends need to really come through. I mean, I love what Elijah Lofton brings, and I know and I like what Ballman brings as well. But just having an unexpected like threat that nobody's preparing for is going to be key on the offensive end. On the defensive end, I would say it's Dante Simpson. If that dude really shows up this year, uh,
How much can he show up?
well, here's what I'm
He's
saying. We don't have a
he's
lot
a
of
true
we don't have a lot
freshman.
of.
He's not that imposing physically. He's
I
done a great
understand that,
job.
Gary.
Had a great spring. He had a great spring, and he's
Yep.
definitely on the radar. I think he'll be in the rotation. But like, what expectations can you have of a true freshman like that? I don't know.
Well, if I'm just looking at trying to make a deep run into the season, and I just think we don't have that quality depth at defensive tackle, that we're
Don't.
probably going to really need to count on him. And if he's able to deliver by the end of the year, I think that really helps the team to make a late run into the season. Because
He'll
that's
play.
what
He's going to
we're,
play.
I think that's what a lot of people are expecting. The second question I had, and I've been burning to ask this question is JoJo healthy and Mark Fletcher healthy for game one?
All right, we're not allowed to report on injuries.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so
That's okay.
I can't get too detailed there.
Okay.
I'll just say I expect them both to be out there.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
yeah,
That's
I think we'll see. I don't see any reason why we won't see both those guys in this game.
okay. Okay.
But
That's enough
how
for me.
healthy they are, how healthy they're not, what they've been through, what they haven't been through, I can't talk about that.
Okay.
That's
I
that's
understand.
that's the fact that we have with Mario and Miami.
That's good. That's good enough for me. My third question to you, Gary, is when the season is over, are we going to revisit this conversation and believe that we missed an opportunity to get another defensive tackle in the portal? Because I felt that way about the
No,
secondary last year.
yeah, but no, they didn't miss an opportunity. That guy wasn't there. I mean, like, number one, that guy wasn't there. Number two, anybody that is there, everybody wants. Okay, that's the hardest position to recruit. So they take David Blay, and he's C.J. Clark from a year ago. It's
But do you not think we could have used another CJ Clark on the team right now?
yeah, I
I'm just
do.
saying. I'm just saying.
I
With the
do,
concerns
but
at
I don't.
depth, do you think we could have gotten another CJ Clark on the team?
I think if they could have gotten that guy, they would have gotten that guy.
Okay.
We can't assume that every defensive tackle that's sitting there in the portal wants to come to Miami. I mean, I think they tried to recruit everybody they could. They certainly knew they had a need at defensive tackle. I don't think that dude was there. I don't think that there was anybody that they could have gone and gotten that they didn't, that they didn't get. Like,
Okay.
you know,
Okay. Fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough.
And
Fair enough.
they're hoping like hell that Blade delivers for them. They need him to step up. They need Moten. Moten to me is one of the keys to this whole season because that's a kid that has real ability, and he just hasn't been able to put it together play after play, game after game.
If he puts it together, I think he's going to find himself in the league. That's what I believe. If he puts it together this year,
They have to have it. Like,
yeah, I
there's
think he'll find himself in the league. So this is my question to you. I wish Matt was on the show because we don't have the benefit of being able to see practice. How impressed or not impressed are you with Corey Heatherman's defense from
very.
what you've seen so far?
I couldn't be more impressed with everything Corey Heatherman. Just the way he came in, the belief that he created amongst the staff, top to bottom in the program, the belief that the head coach has in him, the way that he has come in and taught his defense to these guys that are going to be playing, the way he's managed personnel, the acquisition of personnel, the development of some of the guys that have been brought into the program, the defensive back coaches that have come into the program are, to me, markedly better than what they've had in recent years. So there is nothing, absolutely nothing. And God, I hope it plays out this way when the games start on Sunday night. But there is absolutely nothing involving Corey Heatherman and what's going on the defensive side of the football, other than the fact that they don't have enough of defensive tackle, which they don't.
Okay.
They don't have enough of defensive tackle. There's going to be times that they are going to have to manufacture play there and find ways to do that. Okay. But beyond that, and that's not his fault for sure, I think the guy has been a great addition. I was talking to Ed Orgeron out of practice one day, and we were just, shooting the shit about stuff. And he said to me, the biggest offseason acquisition for the program is not Carson Beck. He said the biggest offseason acquisition for the Miami Hurricanes was Corey Heatherman. This is Ed Orgeron, a national championship head coach who was he was a defensive coordinator himself at times in his career. So he knows what he's looking at. And I mean, he flat told me that he thinks the Heatherman pickup is huge for this program. I have not seen anything that would make me disagree with that.
I believe if the defense shows up this year, I'm not so much concerned about the offense because I still think we can have a playoff level team with just great defense, without putting so much pressure on the offensive side and Carson Beck and everyone else. My final comment to you, Gary, is a successful football season for the Miami Hurricanes. How big is that with turning the perception in recruiting and being able to lock down some of this South Florida talent that keeps getting away? Because the only reason why Ohio State is winning the national championship is because of Jeremiah Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You take Jeremiah Smith off Ohio State last year, they're not winning the national championship. And all these Alabamas and Ohio State teams that win national championship win it off of South Florida talent. So if you can speak to that, Gary, I'd really appreciate it for the next 2 minutes.
I think you answered your own question. I mean, it's everything. It's the one last thing that's missing here. Miami in the ACC championship game, Miami winning the ACC, Miami in the college football playoff, playing a big time game, winning in the college football playoff. It's the only thing missing. I mean, Miami has stepped up as a university. It's funding football at levels that nobody would have ever imagined. President Joe Echeverria, God bless him, man. I hope he's in that seat forever because he has meant the world to this football program. I mean, the commitment is there. There are no excuses anywhere. I mean, nobody out there, please don't try to make an excuse to me for anything because there are no excuses, anymore at Miami football. They've got the resources. They've got the capability to go out and get the talent that they need. You've got a head coach that works harder than anybody in America. They're constantly improving the staff. I mean, there's just no excuses. And, whether this ends up, 12-0, 11-1, 10-2, God forbid it ends up at 8-4. There is no excuse whatsoever anymore at Miami football. And that's the one thing that's missing, Sebastian. And you're so spot on.
I just truly believe that Miami can get to the playoff level, let alone win a national championship. I think it changes the epicenter of college football. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
I really do believe that. Great show, Gary. I'll be on next week, man. Thanks for being so gracious to put me on the show.
Don't spend too much money at the mall, man.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm if it's not on sale, I'm not buying it.
All right, Sebastian. Thanks, man. We'll see you next week.
You later.
All right, real quick, just want to look at some of these comments. Blue, can the wide receivers get open? Well, that's the $1 million question. That's what we don't know. They all have ability. Josh Moore, wait till you see this kid. Okay. He looks like a young Andre Johnson out there. Malachi Tony looks like a young Roscoe Parrish. Can they get open on Sunday night against Notre Dame secondary? That is a $1 million question that, I certainly can't answer. I've seen them on the practice field get open at times. I've also seen our defensive backs dominate at times. So I don't know what's going to happen Sunday night. I really don't. I don't think anybody does. Usually young players, when the lights go on, it could get a little difficult for them. It's a whole different world out there on Sunday night than it's been on Green Tree here the last month. So we'll see what happens. They're going to rotate a lot of guys at receiver. I think you're going to see 8, 9 guys in the rotation. The guys that step up and get open and deliver are going to be the guys that'll be out on the field as the game goes forward. Let's go to BK Hurricane. Welcome back, my man. I hope you had a good offseason.
No, it was good. What's up, Gary?
Doing good, man. Doing good. What you got for us?
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid again this year, Gary. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid again.
You and a lot of other people.
I don't know what all this Notre Dame hype is about. They're starting a freshman quarterback. As a matter of fact, any team starting a freshman quarterback this year, I don't even want you in the national championship conversation. And that's a lot of teams. That's a lot of teams predicted to go into the playoffs starting freshman quarterbacks. I don't want to hear it. Miami hit the lottery again with Carson Beck. We hit it last year with Cam Ward. We hit it again with Carson Beck. I'm not impressed by anything this Jeremiah Love, whatever this kid's name is. I've seen him play. I watched him play. When he had to step up against the big teams, he didn't do much of anything. He really didn't do much of anything. I don't see what the hype is about.
But was that his fault? Does that mean he's not a great player? Or
No, I'm not saying that means that he's not a great player, but that means what is Notre Dame going to do differently to prove it otherwise? Arguably, they had the best offensive line last year as well, and they didn't do anything. So just because they have the extra year, that automatically translates to them getting better? It doesn't automatically translate to them getting better. They're starting a freshman quarterback. I just don't see it. I'm not too worried about defensive tackle if Heatherman's linebackers do what they're supposed to do. I've seen a Miami Hurricane team in 2017 absolutely demolish Notre Dame with McIntosh at defensive tackle. And the kid wasn't even – he was good, but we're not going to talk about this kid like he was he was an elite player in college football, because he wasn't. But he sure made Notre Dame look like he was a first-round draft pick, and then where's he now? So I'm not too worried about it. We have an opportunity. We're starting arguably the best quarterback in the NCAA. You can't go from leaving Georgia to your team dropping 30 passes. 30 passes. Georgia led the nation in drop passes last year, and the kid still threw for over close to 3,500 yards. And everybody's knocking Carson back. Everybody's knocking. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's strictly Miami hate. It's not going anywhere. It's all Miami hate. Miami arguably on defense is better this year than they were last year. They just couldn't cover up all those holes they had in the secondary. Hopefully, fingers crossed that they did it this year. Anything under 10 wins is a disappointment for this team. I mean, for the landscape, but for this team, anything under 10 wins is an utter disappointment. Everyone should be ashamed of themselves. And we paid Mario so much money that there is no hot seat for this guy. Everybody likes to talk about a hot seat. We're not paying that buyout. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with that. Like they're all in with Mario. Mario's given them no reason to not be all in with him, and nobody's looking for Mario to fail. Okay, like they're I don't know I haven't heard one peep from anybody with any significance at the University of Miami that has any issues at all with what Mario Cristobal is doing here.
We just haven't had that 8-4 season with high expectations. Because if I don't know who said it, everything 8-4, and we still make the playoffs, it's not happening.
Nah, not making the playoffs.
It's never going to happen. They'd rather put in a 5-loss SEC team before they put in a 4-loss Miami team. It's never ever going to happen. So listen, I'm just ready for the season. I'm just hoping that Carson Beck could do what Carson Beck does, and wide receivers just catch the ball. Hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll be breaking in a new offensive coordinator next year. And we'll take it from there. Because if Shannon Dawson leaves, I'm pretty sure it's going to be for a promotion, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be because he had an amazing season.
Yeah.
So hopefully this time next year we're talking about a new offensive coordinator.
He's smart enough. He's not leaving unless he gets a head coaching job. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's got to be a promotion. So Gary, that's all I wanted to say. Notre Dame's overrated. I expect us to win our first 7 or 8 games before things start getting shaky in the ACC. Miami always finds a way to keep some freaking mediocre ACC team close. I'm a little worried about Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh gets good and we got to play them last game of the year in Pittsburgh in November, cold weather. But other than that,
back-to-back cold weather games on the road. Oof.
Well, let's just hope that's when our offensive line steps up and takes control.
Yeah.
Because we're deep at running back.
I'm not sure I would even bother coming home after Virginia Tech. I think
I would just stay on the road.
I'd just stay up north and be cold weather and get
acclimated. Yeah, get acclimated to the weather. Just stay on the road. Get acclimated to the weather. I'm not worried about running back. We could. What are we 4 or 5 deep at running back? Technically,
yeah.
If push came to shove.
Yeah, I mean,
we got talent there.
4 or 5 guy. If Pringle had to play, I don't think anyone would freak out. I mean,
no one would freak out. I just need Lofton to do what he does. If Tony is all that he's cracked up to do,
back there too, by the way,
yeah, and you could always put Lofton back there. We got 2 big tight ends, Bauman and the Brock Shot, huge kid.
Yeah, Luka Gilbert.
Luka Gilbert as well.
Luka Gilbert, man. I saw him. I saw him starting to pop the last week of camp. I mean, that kid's gonna be a good player.
All right, Gary. Real quick, last thing. Ryan Williams, right? Miami really, really needs to be good this year so we could see what this kid has. Because I would love to go into the 4th quarter of some games and we roll out Ryan Williams just to get him that game action. Because if we're in close games all year, we're
Emory Williams, the quarterback.
I'm sorry. Emory Williams, the quarterback.
Yeah.
I would love for us to be in some good games this year, where in the 4th quarter we could roll out Emory Williams just to get him acclimated, just to see what he's got. Because if he's showing what Shannon Dawson is, everybody ever said about Emory Williams, the kid was born to throw the football and all this other good stuff. We can't go in. We got to give this kid. This kid has got to touch the field this year.
People love to jump on me about Emory Williams. I'll tell you this: there's many plays out on the practice field where Emory Williams looks every bit as good as Carson Beck throwing the football. Okay. Now then, there's other plays where he doesn't look every bit as good as Carson Beck. With him, it's a consistency thing, decisions, making the right plays. We'll see how he develops. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love Emory Williams. I was hoping that he would be a little further along right now than I feel like that he is. But there are individual plays where he could throw. There's not a pass he can't throw.
We got to get him on the field, Gary.
Yep, they will.
Got to get him on. Got to get him on the field.
Soon, I'll tell you that. I feel pretty strong about that. I think you'll see him against South Florida also.
Okay, against those 2 teams, the second half, I would love to see what this kid could do. Hopefully, we're dominating and we could get him in for a half or a
That'd be
quarter
great.
or so, a full quarter, that would be great. But this kid has got to touch the field, or else we're going to be shopping again.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to get Luke Nickel a few series this year too. So we'll
Of
see.
course, of course, of course. But listen, Gary, that's it. I'll be on hopefully every Tuesday, rest of the year. So I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, Gary, 11-1.
All right, man.
And that one loss is going to be from some nobody. I promise you. We're beating everybody we're supposed to beat. We're going to lose to some nobody. We're going to be like, how do we lose to this guy? Because that's what we do. That's just what we do.
All right, BK. Thanks, man.
All right, Gary.
All right, I want to thank everybody that participated in the show tonight, everybody that watched the show. Great season debut of CaneSport Live. To me, this is one of the favorite things that we do at CaneSport. We love to just turn it over to the fans and hear what's on everybody's mind. And what I love is that we weren't just hearing, 12-0, 12-0, 12-0 from everybody tonight. I mean, obviously, all of us want 12-0. 12-0 may or may not be reality. I mean, it's not going to be reality for too many teams in college football. I think we've had a lot of great conversation tonight, a lot of real good topical stuff that should give you guys a better feel for this football team that we're going to see coming out on Sunday night at Hard Rock Stadium against Notre Dame. So for everybody that participated, everybody that watched, thank you for being with us tonight. We will see you next Tuesday night with this show and CaneSport.com. Obviously, every single minute of every day leading up to the game, during the game, after the game, we will have you guys covered to the max. Have a great night, everybody.